Let's test this. You might have the pleasure of having some special sound effects courtesy of the roadworks or my neighbor. Someone is definitely doing some quite serious DIY. Yeah, let's start. Otherwise, it's gonna take me another day to record this because this is not the first time that I'm trying to record this video. It's not very often that I record. Hello friends, by the way. Hi guys. This is not a typical type of a video that I put out here on the Why Girl, a life update. Today I just felt like I really want to do it, but it's uncomfortable for me. And I was thinking about it. Why do I feel so uncomfortable recording these kinds of videos? And I think the answer is that I always think about what you're gonna get out of it. And when I think about life update, I'm like, well, I'm just a normal person living a normal life like you are. So I'm thinking, why would you care about what happens in my personal life? But then sometimes I need to take myself outside of my shoes. The Why Girl channel has been about sharing my journey of self-discovery, and I have been consciously choosing to share more of the self-discovery of the internal world rather than the external world. But I think from time to time it does help to provide that external context so that it's easier to follow the other part of the journey that I'm choosing to share more often. And another reason I want to record this is because I've got some questions for you. Let's dive in. Let's see what happens. There are a few areas that I want to update you on, and I'm going to start with the most difficult one, the breakup. At the beginning of the summer, my relationship sadly ended, and if you've ever been emotionally involved, if you've ever loved, if you've ever experienced a heartbreak, you know that it sucks. It turns your life upside down. It's something that affects all other areas of my life, right? In the first weeks after the breakup, I went into a survival mode, and I definitely was trying to focus on just figuring out what am I going to do with myself and how am I going to carry on my own, which sounds a little bit dramatic, but I think what I'm trying to say is that what I realized through what happened in the recent months is that a sense of home and belonging is very important to me, and I don't quite have that. There's a lot of value that comes from it, but there are also some challenges. So it's these challenges that I feel a lot more when I go through transitions in my life, like end of a relationship. Because with that comes a lot of other change. I changed the city that I was living in. I lost a home. So I was starting a new project just after the breakup, and I was also looking for a camper van. So essentially there were many big changes happening in my life at the same time. For a few months, I kind of let myself be in that survival mode and just focusing on doing. And I allowed myself to be lost. When things started settling down, I think it's only then that I started processing emotionally what had happened, and all the emotions hit me with full force. I was really surprised to see what was happening to me, and I wasn't in a very good place mentally, which I'm going to talk about later as well. I'm in a better place now, and I'm also feeling like I think I'm starting to be ready to kind of like take a wider perspective on my life. Don't focus on just the now, and come back to dreaming, you know, come back to dreaming, come back to trusting in life, come back to envisioning that dream life of mine. I guess what I wanted to say here is thanks for sticking around. Thank you for being understanding and for all the support that I received. Many of you have reached out to me, and you've been so lovely and so supportive in your messages, and if you have, you know who I'm talking about. So I just want to say that I really appreciate your words, your support, and you being here. This is a nice segue to the next topic that I want to talk about, and that's my mental health. As a result of all the changes that have been occurring in my life recently, I decided that it's time that I start therapy. And I have been working with a therapist for a few months now. It's been a surprise to me, you know? This is the honest answer. It's been a surprise in a sense that I really thought that talking therapy would be something right up my street. I thought this is exactly my cup of tea. Talking about psychology, talking about deep shit, talking about relationships, about my internal world. These are all the things that I love talking about. It's turned out to be a bit different. I think I would say that in my case, therapy is definitely work. Hard work? Not sure. Definitely work. I think the hardest part for me is going into areas of my personality, of my life that I'd rather look away from, as well as having the ability to be painfully honest with yourself in front of a witness. I've been having conversations with people around me, and it feels like many people are considering therapy or are starting therapy, but many people are scared of it. I know that what I'm saying now might not sound very encouraging, but for any of you who are considering therapy, I know that very often we think of therapists as people that we go to when there is a problem. I try not to think of my therapy as something that is trying to fix something in me. Rather, I treat it as a tool to get to know myself better. Imagine what a shame it would be to go through your entire life and not to get to know yourself, the most important person in your life. We spend so much of our energy learning about the external world, about other people. It's just simply easy to forget that there is a lot to explore inside of you. If you have any questions about therapy, share them in the comments. It would be lovely to start a conversation around that too. And again, this is a segue to another topic that I want to talk about, the topic of work, which has been popping up in my conversations with my therapist quite a bit. And work obviously has been an important element of this channel because it all started with me quitting my job and transitioning into a new career. I have been thinking a lot about the way I work, and I have been realizing some things. The first thing is that I am struggling to work from home. When I first started working from home, I loved it, though I knew that I didn't quite understand how to work productively and how to make the most of my time. Then I felt like I found kind of a system that was working. Now I'm at the stage when I feel that I do have a system that is outdated, that is not working for me anymore. And also I am starting to feel lonely. And I would really love to know from you guys, if you are working from home, how you feel about that way of working after possibly many months of working this way, right? Many of us are experiencing working from home for the first time for an extended period of time. In my conversations with my friends, it also transpires that many of us are starting to see not just the excitement, you know, or that first excitement of having a new way of working and having all that time to yourself, and, you know, definitely a lot of benefits coming from working from home, but we're also starting to experience the drawbacks. For me, that's been feeling lonely. I don't have a witness of my work and all the effort that goes into it. There is an element of not having a team and not being able to bounce ideas off of each other and get feedback and be appreciated. I miss the feeling of working with other people on one thing, of being part of something bigger. I'm also struggling with mixing the energy of the same place with work and relaxation. So I have actually started considering working from a collab space, and that's actually another interesting topic, co-working spaces, and I would love to make a video in the future about that. And if you also have some thoughts about co-working spaces, if you've considered them before, why did you consider them? Or if you have worked, why did you work from a co-working space and what your experience was? I would love for you to share it so that I also get some ideas for the type of content that I could create in the future. While we're talking about work, obviously a big element of my work is this YouTube channel, and I wanted to talk to you about what's been happening on my channel lately, and I wanted to get your advice. You might have noticed that my content is not as focused as it used to be. Not to say that I've been really, religious about sticking to my topics. I'm trialing new ideas, and one of the most obvious ones is my van life journey and looking for a camper van. Some of you have shared with me that you really enjoyed this series, but I wanted to get more of your thoughts about it. It doesn't quite fit with everything else that's been on my channel. So there is an idea that I've been playing with. I'm not sure if I'm quite ready for it yet, but I wanted to ask your opinion. Essentially, I am considering creating a separate YouTube channel that would be about recording that van life journey of mine solely. Do you think it's necessary? Does it confuse you that I talk about a van life here on the Why Girl? Is it a good idea to create a separate channel or not? Let me know. That's all that I want to say. And this brings me nicely to the last point that I wanted to talk about, and that's involving you more in the creation of this channel. I mainly focus on YouTube, and I'm not very active on any other types of social media, which has been a conscious choice. However, I know that limits your ways of getting involved in the co-creation of this channel. With that said, I have been thinking about creating ways of us having a more regular dialogue rather than just being able to communicate through the comments section. One of the things that I have been considering is maybe creating a Patreon page where I would be able to share with you, for example, more life updates like this, and that would be a way of us having conversations away from YouTube on a more regular basis, but not so much instantaneous, immediate basis. It would allow you to ask questions that you might have or give me that feedback. So would you like me to create a Patreon page? Do you think that would be beneficial? If not, do you have any other ideas of how we could create this place for us to have conversations and to help our community grow and support each other? Okay, we've done it. Life update recorded. Wow, it's been interesting for me. Let me know what you thought of it. I really appreciate you being here, and as always, I really appreciate you taking part in this channel. I am looking forward to seeing some of your suggestions and answers to my questions in the comments or via email, and I'm gonna see you in my next one. Bye! I feel like I've been talking for an hour. How long? 44 minutes. Wow. You know what? I often think that I should study philosophy. Everything can be a starting point for a philosophical conversation for me. Even cereal. If we started talking about cereal, I'm pretty sure I would find a way of tying it with, I don't know, stoicism or the meaning of life, how corn was a staple of a diet of the Latin American, I don't know.